Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and whatever else may be watching, we've got a lot of iDubbbz H3 stuff to discuss in today's video. If you're not already aware, this is my third video covering this situation. If you're not caught up to this situation, I highly consider you go and watch my other two videos on this situation, then come back and continue watching this one. First thing that I quickly want to go over is the last remaining clips from H3's response.
This video, it's doing well view-wise. It has like it has over 50% dislike, so clearly there's a lot of people that don't like it. But what interests me, I think what's indicative of just how nonsensical this entire hate movement is against me, is that you cannot watch this video and think it's actually good.
The one thing I have to say that's against Ethan Klein here is the dislike counter on YouTube with the extensions is very, very inaccurate a lot of the time. He's not wrong that the vast majority of the people that watch this video ended up not enjoying it and going against iDubbbz. You can just see that online and by streamers' reactions. You know, people aren't siding with him.
It doesn't even make sense.
No, and if it's for somebody that hasn't been following the story, this must be like the most incoherent mess.
It just seems like some personal got drama.
And that's one of the major issues with this iDubbbz content cop. Throughout it, he's scattering clips from H3 that are completely out of context. He's not adding the context or adding anything onto it, so it makes no sense to a viewer that might have no idea what's going on. This was actually seen with a recent video that was uploaded on the situation from content creator oompaville. oompaville made a video on this whole situation and took everything at face value and didn't do any research. He didn't do the bare minimum research and then came up with a bunch of really lame excuses to try and say why he didn't do said research. And he just took everything at face value because the context isn't there, so he just blatantly believed iDubbbz. The context of a lot of the clips that iDubbbz put in the video is heavily important to know what's even going on, why H3 is reacting to the way he is to certain things. It's very important. And of course with oompaville, it's literally his job to do the research, and if you're not going to be asked to put the bare minimum research in, you shouldn't be making the video in the first place, but it acts as a good example as to why the context is pretty important.
I'll tell you what else. This whole video is delete worthy.
I agree.
I think he needs to delete the whole video.
I think you need, bro, don't even, bro. Yeah. This guy was my friend, by the way, like of 10 years. What was it?
He deleted all his other content cops, right?
Yeah. He doesn't stand by them. I'm uniquely evil.
I think he's gonna need to keep with the tradition and delete this one too.
We're not gonna forget. This is actually like, he's actually a terrible person. I feel like mathematically proven.
One of iDubbbz's message is in the video is that hopefully down the line that they can become friends again. And that just will not happen while this content cop is up. Not only for the people that are in the video, but for the things that he says in the video and how disingenuous it is. There's loads of other points that H3 makes in his response, which I'd highly recommend that you go and check out separately so you can get the full grasp of his response, like you should be watching the full content cop. The last thing from Ethan's response that I want to play is this.
Use a hug. Now, of course, it kind of pisses me off to hear that shit because I'm like, what are we doing? What are we saying? He needs a hug? No, he doesn't need a hug. He needs a good fucking ass whooping is what he needs. I think
that
you're a fucking idiot, dude. Why?
You know what's great about
what
this
the fuck?
line is that my complaint is about people threatening violence. There's lots of threats of violence against me and my family, and your response is to tell your audience that what I need is to get punched in the face.
Again, this is just another example of how this content cop very much feels like iDubbbz really just doesn't know the true extent of what he's talking about. He doesn't really know the situation ins and out, or he's just blatantly ignoring it.
This guy is this is the new iDubbbz?
Yeah.
This is the new iDubbbz? The punch him in the face guy? I'm flabbergasted by this take. It's just mean-spirited. It's wrong. What do you mean, dude?
It's like this whole idea of all these content cops being fair, that, you know, he feels for Ethan and that after this content cop at some point, he wants to try and repair the bridge with Ethan. It's really funny when you watch the actual content cop because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And that actually leads kind of perfectly into the next thing I want to talk about, which is the crying thing, right? We've spoke about how manipulative it is, right? How really blatant it is, all of that lovely, good stuff, but we've actually got an extended cut of it straight from a Psychology in Seattle video, you know, the guy that was raising Ethan Klein's apology video. And before we get get into the actual crying itself, I do want to say this video is just not all that. At times in this video, it does very much feel like he's too focused on the fact that he influenced the content cop in a certain way, that he changed Ian's outlook, and all of that type of stuff. Very much feels like he's a little bit ignorant of the situation at hand, and that's not necessarily just his fault, it's the fact that he's been thrusted into the situation by iDubbbz, and he just doesn't know the full extent to what's going on. Dear Doctor at Psychology in Seattle, I have respect for you and your expertise and appreciate everything you've spoken about. However, I find your new video about me to be extremely unprofessional, especially without talking to me first. You are participating in a bad faith attack on my character as presented by one side who is currently engaging in the harassment campaign. You have one side of a story, but engage confidently in damaging speculation about my character. I blame Ian for putting you in the middle of a highly contentious dispute. That was extremely unfair of him. Did Ian ever once tell you that his friend that I'm upset with is likely responsible for CPS visiting my house? Did she spread malicious lies about my children eating dog shit and catching disease? Did he tell you that the majority of clips he used of me is from an episode entitled CPS came to my house the morning of the visit? It's unfair that Ian put you in the position, but I also find your video to be irresponsible and unethical. At Dr. Psychology in Seattle, at the heart of this harassment campaign is the dismissal of my feelings as a result of me being mentally unwell. I've been continually vulnerable about my struggle with mental health, and to see it weaponized by a supposed friend who I once confided about my mental health with the aid of, albeit unknowingly, a licensed psychologist, did you not find it odd that someone flew to you for the express purpose of recording you analyzing another public figure that you've never met or spoken with? Someone this person clearly is contentious with. You are a good man with good intentions, but in this, you have done wrong. The thing that I want to talk about in relation to this video is we've been given lots of additional footage of iDubbbz crying, and I find it particularly interesting with some of the things he says, so I just kind of want to go over it, break it down, and analyze it a little bit. Now, the first clip we're going to be looking at is from the introduction of the Psychology in Seattle video.
Pain, are you remembering the pain of what was hurting at that time? What is the pain?
I think just being like super lost and not feeling like I have any control over anything. But
iDubbbz, right? Could you imagine that Ethan Klein's feeling like kind of a similar way maybe, and then you've just dropped a content cop on him, somebody who's meant to be your friend? Could you get how that might make someone feel? Realistically, why should we as the audience or a viewer or as a content creator or whoever care about iDubbbz's feelings when it's very clear he hasn't taken his apparent friend's feelings into account?
I think she was much more grounded, like leading into it. So, you know, I also see the dynamic of Ethan and Neil, and I'm like, fuck, like, it's just really, it's really hard to be, a couple online.
Again, this is another thing, it very much feels like he's self-injecting himself into the situation. Like, your situation is completely different to what Ethan Klein and Hila Klein are going through.
See people attacking her partner, and it's like, okay, like, if you come to their defense, that doesn't always help them, right? Sometimes that makes it worse for them. So I'm seeing Ethan go through a lot of that. Ethan and Hila.
Are they though? Because this is something that Ethan Klein actively went against when he was reacting to your content cop on him.
Partner, and it's like, okay, like if you come to their defense, that doesn't always help them.
You're just that's not even relevant to our relationship. Like, you're talking about yourself. You're making it about yourself. You're the hero. You're the victim. You're everything. You are the fucking greatest, bro.
So there you have it, straight from Ethan Klein himself. And this is where it becomes very blatant, right? That he's trying to say all of this to try and show that he's empathetic towards Ethan, even if it doesn't apply to him, to try and, you know, manipulate the audience into thinking that, you know, iDubbbz is this pretty good guy, right? He's caring, he's this really nice guy, when in actuality, it can be further from the truth. Now, the next bits of crying that I want to take a look at come from around the 57-minute mark and basically take up about 5 minutes of runtime. I'll try and make this quick to a certain extent, because as funny as it can be, he does sniffle a lot and it gets annoying.
Like, that's going to be probably a constant journey for me, is figuring out what makes me funny. Or what people like about me or my content. So I just want that for him.
Okay. Did you just touch on something inside of you right now?
Yeah, I think so.
What was that?
every turn, it seems like with this H3 content cop, he's made it entirely about himself. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you there? You're talking to the guy that rated Ethan Klein's apology video. Like, what is this? Okay, believe it or not, the next 20 seconds is him taking some deep breaths in, you know, he's about to cry again, taking another deep breath in, and, you know, it takes him a long bit to get to the point. So let's just, you know, skip this.
I've really tried hard to like control what I've been putting out online and like what I'm going to react to and you know, think about other people. And it was like, you know, at minimum like a full year of me like really questioning like everything I was putting out. And I
can pretty much say that the vast majority of people that have made content have felt this feeling at some point, but why is iDubbbz talking about it with the guy that he's gone to try and change Ethan Klein's apology rating? And in this case, it's very much brought on by iDubbbz and Anissa's own actions and their thoughts and their mentalities. So what are we meant to do with this?
You know, I had some confidence at the start of that, but like every video I put out, I'd be like, oh shit, like the views aren't good, the comments aren't good.
Again, ultimately, as emotional as he is and as bad as he probably 100% feels, he's done this to himself for his apologies and disavowals, which has led there. He's only got himself to blame. A lot of people are going to say that because, you know, I'm not feeling empathetic or sympathetic towards iDubbbz here, that, you know, I'm just completely biased against him, which isn't true. It's just that, again, he's done this to himself. There's only so much empathy you can feel towards someone when somebody has done it actively to themselves through their own action. And then you kind of add on to the fact that he was there to get an apology rating changed, which makes it even 10 times funnier.
Like, I don't know, like, it just kept getting worse and worse. And so,
And iDubbbz, I hate to be that guy, but it's definitely just going to keep getting worse.
Now that I feel like it wasn't overnight, like, me gaining my confidence back, and I'm still probably not all the way there, but, like I have a much clearer idea because I didn't take like an easy route, or I didn't like fight back, or, you know, when I say easy route, I basically mean to say that I didn't go for the drama or the things that I know would get like views or attention.
And then I thought to myself, I'm going to drop a content cop on my close friend H3 because I know it's not going to get any views or do very well whatsoever. I don't know why iDubbbz keeps acting in this massively self-righteous way. I don't know why he's putting himself across this way, because it's genuinely insufferable.
Mm-hmm. Because I am familiar with it, but I know that it's just going to lead me to the same kind of place.
Which was what?
Which is being unhappy and regretful.
Yeah. Regretting what?
Hurting people.
So you're telling me your other content cops and other pieces of videos on others have made you regretful and made you unhappy, but you're telling me a video on somebody who was your friend for a long time isn't going to make you regretful or unhappy when you see what's happening to them or the backlash you're receiving? Everything iDubbbz has said over the past couple of years has just completely been contradictory to each other and been heavily inconsistent.
Just making like content that like didn't align with like my beliefs or principles.
So by that logic, I guess that the H3 content cop does align with his principles, which is a really good thing to know when you realise the people he's collaborated with.
It's just really it's really hard to be a couple online.
So we're getting a couple of different versions of this clip, right? Some added context, some extra sniffles, some extra crying. We've basically seen all variations of this clip, which is incredible, right? It's like different Star Wars cuts, right? You know how like there's special editions of the original Star Wars, and basically the original's been lost to time? This is exactly what this is like for me.
So I'm seeing Ethan go through a lot of that. Ethan and Hila. And, yeah, it just, I really relate heavily to the harassment that they're getting, and,
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's just not even the same, and if you relate heavily to the harassment they're receiving, why have you dogpiled on top of that harassment and made that harassment possibly worse? Why would you do that if you're sympathetic and empathetic to what they're going through? iDubbbz, I'm gonna tell you for free, that makes no sense, buddy.
I see them kind of like, you know, turn away from friends, lean more into money, get a lot more like flippant and a lot more like aggressive toward people, and I'm just like, fuck, that is not ultimately going to like solve it for you.
I mean, I don't know what he's talking about by them going more into money, but the reason they're aggressive and getting more angry towards people is because of the things that are happening to them, like CPS being called. Just Ian's framing of this when he was meant to be friends with H3H3 and Healer respectively is just absolutely despicable. I mean, if I can understand why they're being so aggressive, why they're so angry, why they're so upset and, you know, acting the way they are, I think iDubbbz can.
You could see, so that's that Y in the road.
Yeah.
You took the healing, touching grass, or touching marriage route away from the internet toward stability and attachment and love, whereas he's taking the other.
I mean, they're just not comparable situations whatsoever, and it's very clear that iDubbbz is very much trying to force this comparison between the situations to kind of show that, you know, I am empathetic, I'm sympathetic, I've been through what he's going through, so, you know, I can talk on this. This was another thing that really annoyed me, just in kind of relation to this, was Frogan made a few tweets on this whole iDubbbz content cop on H3. But the one that I really want to talk about in this video is this one, because it really genuinely just confused me. If one of your self-proclaimed close friends made a YouTube video about how shitty you're being, sit back and reflect on that. Ian was so terrible to Ethan and approached it in ways most don't. Now, I'm going to read my reply to this tweet because I think it kind of sums up all the things that I want to say in this video about it. Yes, Frogan, iDubbbz was being charitable by dropping an hour-long disingenuous content cop on his apparent friend after disavowing the series, where he gets people like yourself, Hasan, in the video, and includes a clip of himself at the end crying to try and manipulate the audience, convey his empathy after an hour of shitting on his apparent friend, and making it about himself after saying he wouldn't get involved. That is being charitable. If you've seen the stuff that iDubbbz has said before the content cop, watch the content cop, seen the stuff that he's talking about when he's crying, just basically, if you know about the situation, you know that this is not him being charitable. Even him dropping a content cop on his apparent friend is not charitable. Now, off the back of the content cop, lots of people have been reacting to it, and of course, have been saying things about Frogan, and here is Hasan defending Frogan.
The reaction to Frogan by everyone, including XQC, is so fucking gross, dude. Straight up, you're fucking gross. That's all it is. Everybody acts like Frogan is the fucking Antichrist, okay? And it's so transparent what these fucking losers are doing. Like, you can have disagreements with Frogan if you want, but god damn, everyone is immediately, like, their reaction is so visceral.
Hasan, I'm going to stop you right there, and just because I know you're going to say something absolutely incredibly stupid, maybe it's because people just do disagree with her and she's a bad person? I know, I'm just going to put that out there.
It's so goddamn visceral. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. This shit is so fucking normalized. Like, Asmongold, XQC, I saw some of them go fucking viral too. It's like, yeah, bro, she's hijabi, I know. And don't even fucking for a moment act like that does not contribute to this.
I do love this clip because it really emphasizes how much just absolute pure utter shit Hasan chats. Because ultimately it is nothing to do with that whatsoever.
They will say, oh, it's because we hate her opinions. Like, no, you reacted that way specifically for a very specific purpose, bro. I hate this. I hate this shit so much. But it's not necessarily that I hate the reaction, and I think it's more so that it's so normalized to behave this way.
I mean, I'm just saying you probably do act apprehensively when you see somebody who is just an awful person. I'm just saying. That was pretty much XQC's reaction when he saw this clip on Twitter.
You know, I probably wouldn't say it, but I'd be like, you know what? Maybe you have some judgment because of some. But the reality is that I'm just not like that. People know this. People watch my clips all the time. People watch my show all the time. They know it's not something that I do. And in fact, I even have to defend myself against if you don't like this person, you're hating because she's wearing a hijabi. Bro. Please, brother. There is so much to hate on that person. It's hard to find things to like.
Again, I hate to say it, but it genuinely does feel like XQC is on just some absolutely incredible winning streak the past week. It has been an amazing performance from That is everything that I wanted to go over in today's edition of iDubbbz and H3 Content Cop, right? Or what's been going on. I probably will, again, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to make a fourth video, because if it keeps going at this rate, I probably will make a fourth video. But if you did enjoy, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, and whilst you're down there, you might as well comment down below your thoughts on all of this. Please feel free to tell me what you're thinking. But I have been your host Samuel, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video, of course.